Hello and welcome to today's Republican Voice. I'm Barry Greenspan. I'm the producer of the series. I'm a former chairman and a former member of the Malden Republican City Committee, and I'm currently an associate member of the Medford Republican City Committee. My guest for the second time is Bob Parks. Bob, welcome back.
Nice to be back.
Hopefully this will be a regular feature of the show.
No, I come back up here every quarter, so we'll see.
Okay. To begin, last time you were here, you touched on the possibility of that Sarah Palin may be a good choice for Republican National Committee chair. And you asked, did we ever have a woman chair? The answer is yes. Her name was Mary Louise Smith. She was from Iowa, and she served from 1974 to 1977. Okay. She succeeded George Herbert Walker Bush, the then future president. She was the first woman to chair either major party. And
isn't it funny how the Republican Party is always the party of firsts?
I'd say so.
For the most part.
I'd say so. So we did have a Madam Chairman at one time, and she was there at a very important time in history, whether you want to call the tail end of the Nixon administration and Gerald Ford's years. Well, let's face it, historic no matter what. I think of it as the disco era, but okay.
Well, I think Sarah Palin would be a much better RNC chair than a presidential candidate.
Okay.
Since our last visit, a whole bunch of things have happened.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things that I think is more glaring is now that her daughter is now cashing in, as it were. And I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of problems with the whole appearance of self-enriching off of the vice presidential candidacy. So I think if she was behind the scenes, I think she can bring more enthusiasm to the party than probably anybody else that's out there.
No question.
So, because I don't see people lining up around the block to hear Michael Steele speak. But for Sarah Palin, that would be a totally different thing. Absolutely. And she wouldn't be the real polarizing, and she's not the polarizing people. It's the people who despise, hate, whatever, Sarah Palin, that have made her so polarizing. She's done some things. She ran for vice president. Obviously, she was selected by John McCain. Whether that made her worthy of being hated is another thing. Sure. But we'll see.
I don't remember any hate towards Geraldine Ferraro.
No, not until her later years, and even recently during the candidacy of Barack Obama, where she made some controversial comments.
That's true.
They may have been true, but because there are certain things that we cannot say in this country, that doesn't stop me, but she got in trouble for telling the truth.
I remember. Professionally,
yes,
you're a journalist, and you
nope.
You don't consider yourself a journalist?
No, not at all. Because there are rules that, in fact, and I'll get to this real quick, but no, I am a columnist. I do commentary.
All right.
Journalists, and here's the thing when you watch the professional journalists in the media, the thing you should watch out for. A journalist reports the news.
I understand.
If an accident happens out on the street, right, they tell you what happened in this accident.
But you have been a journalist in the past.
Yes.
Oh, there is.
And but a commentary person will tell you why that stupid fool got into this accident. Okay, so there's a big difference. Right. But what happens nowadays in our professional media, you will have a journalist that will not only report about the accident, but will tell you why that stupid fool got into it in the first place. And that's where the line is always crossed. Now, if the stupid fool happened to be a Democrat or a Republican, that gets thrown into it too. So the person who got into the accident was at the wrong place at the wrong time when it comes to certain media people. Sure. And their political event, when another person who got in that same accident was a stupid fool.
Right. You are employed by something called the Media Research Center.
Yes, the Media Research Center is the oldest media watchdog organization in the country. We try to alert people as to liberal bias in the media, and obviously we have a lot of work to do. And of course, like in anything, it goes both ways. I mean, you have Think Progress, and Media Matters that expose conservative bias in the media. So it goes both ways. I mean, nobody can come right out and say, I'm impartial. You're a human being. Nobody's impartial. The people I have problems with are the people who say they're impartial and are not. It's impossible to do. That's why I don't do it. I do commentary. Everybody knows where I'm coming from. Sure. I'm opinionated, and that's why I do what I do.
The research, what is done with it? Do political candidates, let's say, hire you to do work for them, or?
Well, we have a fairly extensive DVR system, digital video recording system. Okay. So we record all the major networks and the cable stations, and then we do reports or blogs on individual shows. One of our favorites as of late was Rick's List with Rick Sanchez on CNN, because he has this list you don't want to be on. I would love to be on that list too. But we monitor the media, and we do daily reports on different shows, and we expose liberal bias. And like I said, it's a two-way street. Sure. Media Matters is on the other side doing the exact same thing. So what one person thinks is regular coffee, the other person thinks is just coffee with milk. Okay, so. But it's something that's a lot of people refers to. Rush Limbaugh, for example, we're Newsbusters, which is one of our sites, as well as CNS News, which is our hard news site, is constantly referenced by on Rush's stack of stuff. Different news, Fox News uses a lot of our stuff. My son was just at the Al Sharpton rally last weekend, the one that went counter to the Glenn Beck rally. Sure. And he interviewed Ben Jealous, who is the president of the NAACP. Okay. And Ben basically said that if Martin Luther King's speech was read at the Glenn Beck rally, no one would have applauded. So anyway, my son Corey was with the reporter. He videotaped that. Day after it was posted, it was on Glenn Beck's show. So we do video work and news stories that the media finds of use and re-reports.
We're recording today, September the 3rd, 2010, so it puts us exactly 60 days to the midterm elections.
Sure.
Any predictions as to how well the Republican Party will do with the U.S. Senate, which right now 34 seats are up, and the House, which all 435? Are we going to win either? We're going to have a majority in either house 60 days from now? Well, at least the elections won't be sworn until January, but...
Well, what is that expression about how the Republican Party is capable of yanking victory from the
jaws of death,
or jaws of defeat, or vice versa? As of now, it seems to be mostly in the hands of the people. Okay. There was a definite overreach that was done by the Democrats in this present congressional session with Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid. Normally, the way things are done is a president will come up with an initiative, work with the Congress, we'll work on one thing at a time. And then after the one thing, there's a cooling off period, and then we start off with something else. This president and this Congress just rammed through so many things that a lot of people are just saying, whoa, wait a minute, slow down, because first off, we're in the middle of a recession. Whomever you want to blame for it, right now it's Bush's fault.
Okay.
Even though there was a Democrat Congress and Senate, at the same time, it's Bush's fault. Okay. So fine, okay, it's Bush's fault. But with that, you should have gone with some caution. Taking over car companies, right. Taking over health care, taking over and bank reform, telling different, which I don't even know how constitutional it is, because a lot of these things are done with the Constitution sort of as an afterthought, but how you can tell a private business how much certain people in that business can earn, whether you like what CEOs are doing or not. Is that constitutional? Is that right? Having through the health care bill, having the government now being in charge of the student loan program. There were lots of things that have not only turned a lot of Democrats sour, but totally turned the independents. I mean, Scott Brown was not, you know, when people here were going gaga over Scott Brown, I mentioned this in the last show,